Hey everyone, GarageKing here, and we're going to install a catch can, or what's called an oil separator sometimes, on a 2016 Toyota Tacoma. So third gen Tacoma, the newest style of Tacomas that are out there. So let's pan in and let's have a look. What do we got to do to install this catch can? Well, we got to find somewhere to mount it. So if we pan over here, we can see there's two bolts. So I'm going to take advantage of these two bolts. Actually, I shouldn't say bolts, I should say bolt holes. These two bolt holes. We're going to take advantage of that. So we're going to make a bracket and let's put our catch can right here. Now it should be known, I didn't do a video on it, but I had an FJ Cruiser and it had holes in the same spot and there was the same hole there. So there was enough space. So if you have a Toyota FJ Cruiser, you can use the same thing. Now if we pan over here, we do have the new engine. So it's a little bit different than the old 4-liter engine, but relatively speaking, it's kind of the same. So what we're going to do is we have to tap into the PVC system. What is the PVC system? PVC system is the positive crankcase ventilation. So just giving a better look at the hose, you can see it comes right down there from the intake manifold. This is the intake manifold. Hose goes down, this is the valve cover. So it goes over the valve cover and then it just comes out and back there. So let's pull that out. So here's that hose we were talking about. We can just squeeze the clip. We can just pull it down just enough there, just to keep it loose. There we go, just like that. You can see it comes off relatively easily. And now if we reach in the back part here, we're gonna reach in here, right there. You can see that clip right there. So I'm gonna reach with my hand and undo it. There we go, it's out. So we can pull it out, just like so. And that's what it looks like. So it's important to know when we're talking about how to hook it up here, right where we took that hose off, let's see if I can get you a good shot underneath. Aha, there you go, that's a good shot there. This is the intake manifold, so there's suction here. So what's happening is it's sucking the vapors out of the valve cover, and there's the nib there. So it's coming out of the valve cover, it went through that hose, and it goes up into that intake to be reburnt. Now the problem there is you're getting oil vapors being reburnt. So those oil vapors coat the valves and it's not good for your engine. It can provide lost horsepower and stuff like that. So these Toyotas have a dual injection system. So what happens is they have the direct injection, but they also have port fuel injection, which can clean them. So it's not as necessary on this vehicle, but I just like putting them on every vehicle because there's no real downside to putting them on at all. Okay, so I've made up a bracket here, just out of a sheet of aluminum, and it actually lines up to these two holes. So we can screw it in there, but first we're gonna mount our catch can to there, and then it'll hold the catch can, and then what we're gonna do is measure how much line we need, and we're gonna cut our lines. Okay, so I have a catch can here. I had, it was actually it was an old one off a Camaro I had. A bit of anti-seize there. So no problem, we're gonna use it. It's not in bad shape by any stretch. When you take it apart, it's a decent design and it'll catch some fluid. So that's good. I had to cut this off just to modify the adapter a bit. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna bolt it on to here, and then as we said, that'll mount in the truck. If you're wondering what this thing is in the back, it's from Cool Tools. It's Easy On Hose Press, and what it does is it presses plastic lines together. I like to use plastic lines because OEMs, they all use the plastic lines. So I want to do the same, so I have a nice clean install. So let's put our bracket together first, and then we'll measure our lines. There you can see that's how our catch can is going to mount. So let's go over to the truck and let's see how it's going to look. If you see I've put a few washers in there, this way it'll pull it off. So the truck is a little bit on a slant, so then this way the catch can will still be vertical. Probably don't need it, but you know, it'd be nicer to have it vertical. I also put some rubber in the back and slapped some anti-seize, so this way it tries to prevent scratching up my truck. All right, let's put a little dab of anti-seize where the bolts will go. Okay, now we're going to try to install this. So let's put it down here. We got to line up our bolt holes. There we go. I can feel them just like so. There we go. Okay, so now we're just going to measure The top is where it comes from the dirty side, so it's going to come from around here. And just taking a rough measurement, we're going to need about 20 inches on this side. And for the other side where the valve cover is, we're going to have to get around it, and looking around the same, looking about 20 inches. So we're going to need about 20 inches of a plastic piping, and then we're going to connect it. So here's where the vacuum is. So this one has to connect to where the vacuum is, and this connects to the dirty side, which is the valve cover. So valve cover to here, and then out through the side up into the intake manifold. Okay, so I'm making our hose. So I've pushed this in, so just to connect to the PCV pipe, this one's gonna connect right to it, and then we're gonna transition to plastic, which is what I wanted. So we're just gonna clamp it here. So I have a little clamp. So I'm just gonna clamp it. I was able to push this, this part of the hose on by hand. No problem there. It's clamped just with a little clamp. That's awesome. I'm just using 3/8 hose. So now we're gonna have to transition to plastic. Okay, so here we're gonna put the short rubber pieces on that will join to our plastic. So we got it up here just like so. We're gonna slide it on. Okay, so I'm just going in close here so you can see what I've done. So there we go, that's better view. So there is the connector there. We got it clamped there. So that's really good. I use the tension clamps, constant tension clamps, because I find they work better than screw clamps. And then we have quite a bit of room here. We got about a couple inches here. So we'll have a right angle here and we'll be coming out. Now on the rear, right where the valve cover is, there we go, that's a better shot. So you can see it coming out of the valve cover. There's the clamp, and there's a rubber piece where it will connect on at a right angle. So we're looking good so far. Okay, so I've cut just a wee bit of rubber hose just so I could put the end adapters in. And what I want to do is, now obviously I have to clamp them, and I'm running out of small clamps, and I hate those ones you twist because they just don't seem to hold good, and I don't want any vacuum leaks. So I found in my toolbox these Gator Grip clamps, Power Grip, and actually I've used them before and they work like a charm. You just heat them with like a not a blow dryer. You just heat them with one of these things. What's the word I'm looking for? Heat gun. There you go. Heat them with a heat gun. So anyway, all they do is they just slide right on, just like this, and you'll see we'll heat them up and it'll shrink, and they'll get nice and tight, and they'll provide constant clamping. They're actually really, really good if you have a coolant leak. These things work awesome for coolant leaks. So let's heat it up. They work like a charm. That'll be just like that. That's one connector. There we go. And we have our two little connectors just like that. Now what we have to do is we're going to measure this connector down here to know roughly where this hose is. So if I'm reaching this hose and then I have this connector attached, that's the connector. The connector is going to go like this. It's going to pop right on. Right where my thumb is where we're going to cut it and install the connector. So now we're just going to pan down, and we're going to connect our first hose, and let's see how it looks. So here's the hose. We actually made this with the tool. Pretty cool. The one thing I like about these is they're super light, so they're absolutely awesome. So we can connect it, and you heard it click down there, and then we have right here, we're just going to connect it, and there we go. So let's pan down, and we can see there's our plastic hose, goes all the way there and up into there. I'll even zoom in for you right there. There's our 90-degree right there. So that is awesome. So let's go do the other line. I think this looks great, easy to disconnect. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this was if ever I want to bypass the catch can for whatever reason, now that I have the parts, I'm just going to make a separate piece that I can just run across, because now all I do is push the button, pull it, just disconnect it. So it's so fast to disconnect it. I don't have to worry about hoses or anything. So That's awesome. So let's go do the other one. Our line is on, so that's awesome. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fish this down in here, and we're gonna see roughly how long we need, and then we're gonna cut it and put our other end on. All right, guys, so this is pretty cool. So I've made like a factory part. So this is absolutely awesome. Fabricating parts. So let's tuck this in here, right in here. So this will clip onto here, just like so. There we go. And now we can reach in. There we go, that's in like that. So that's the end of the catch can. As you can see, it's installed. It's got its nice quick connect, so we can push down and just pull them off. Really nice job there from the Cool Tools. Goes there. So this is my intake, so this is gonna suck clean air right there. The dirty side flows this way and into the top of the catch can, and as you can see, that goes to the back and goes right down there to the rocker cover. There we go, we focus in on there. You can see there's our connector. So that looks really good. So the whole reason is now if I have to disconnect this can for some reason or break down, whatever, who knows what, even to do vacuum tests, now I can just undo this, push this like this, undo this one. There you go. Now it's, now the can's bypassed. So I didn't even need any special tools or anything fancy to do that. So that is just awesome. Now I can plug the can back in, just like that. And we are done. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions. I can answer all questions. GarageKing, over and out for now. Stay tuned for the next one.